I am a survivor of extreme adolescent bullying. I've been shoved in lockers, beat up in bathrooms. I've had drugs planted on me, weapons put to my throat. I've been through name calling, digital abuse, social media hacking. I've been pantsed, spit on, ridiculed, and completely isolated. Anything you can possibly think of, I most likely have been through it. Now, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I don't want your sympathy. And frankly, no one who's gone through any of this does. Research into why people bully finds that bullies are often directing pain, frustrations, or anger. This can stem from a lack of attention from friends, their teachers, or their parents. Some kids are insecure and feel the need to bully so they can be seen as tough or cool or in charge. Some kids have learned to bully from others. They've seen their parents or their siblings or their friends getting their way by being angry and aggressive, and they believe that by doing the same, they will get the same. But not surprisingly, most bullies actually bully because they're a victim themselves. If my bullies had stopped to reflect on their actions, if they had thought about them, then they would come to realize that their actions stem from pain, frustration, and the feeling of hopelessness. But sadly, this thought is a rare occurrence because it's so much easier to suppress this pain than it is to live with it. The anxiety, fear, and trauma that I still suffer from today as a result of the bullies of my childhood is a direct result of thoughtless action. Because my bullies weren't running to hurt me, they were running from themselves. I'm lucky. I'm here today. That's why I don't want your sympathy. Many victims of bullying don't live to see things get better. Victims of bullying are 9 times more likely to commit suicide than their peers. This results in 4,400 deaths a year out of 440,000 attempts. Nationwide, 14% of high school students report considering suicide, and 7% attempt it. 160,000 kids stay home from school out of a direct fear of being bullied every single day. In order for bullies to recognize the consequences of their actions and for victims to recognize their self-worth, reflection is key. Growing up, I'd find myself sitting face to face with my bullies in the administrative office, and I'd hear the principal or the guidance counselor ask them why they did what they did to me. And every time the answer would be, I don't know. I just felt like it. I don't know. I just felt like it. Think about that. We find that bullies don't bully because they don't like you, or because they think that you're different, or because you're shy. And we don't find that they bully because they feel like it. We find that bullies bully because they aren't able to reflect on their actions. They aren't able to interpret their thoughts. So they run from them. When it comes to bullying, I hate the term survivor. I hate it because it highlights a fundamental flaw in the thousands of anti-bullying campaigns in our world today. Why are we teaching kids how to survive being bullied? Why are we teaching them to live with it? And furthermore, why are we teaching bullies that it's okay to bully other students? Many anti-bullying campaigns today are built on a foundation called victim advocacy. This means that their main focus is to stand up for these victims and to speak what they can't say themselves. And don't get me wrong, while this is good in nature and great in thought, these campaigns are completely missing the point. By teaching these children that they're victims and that they should stay down and remain quiet and wait for someone else to intervene, it forces them to shell themselves away. It inhibits them to grow, and it causes them to go back to their rooms and to lock themselves away and to wait for something that's never going to come. I didn't survive my bullies. I'll be as clear as daylight with you guys on that one. But I did, however, manage to overcome them. I overcame my bullies by realizing that, much the same as my bullies, I wasn't putting any thought into my actions as well. I wasn't reflecting on my feelings, and I wasn't thinking about my actions, and I wasn't putting a connection in between them. And so I overcame my bullies by thinking about myself and trying to think about the things that I was doing and about the feelings and about the emotions that I was having, and I tried to build connections between them. I also overcame my bullies by working to identify role models, the people who I could look up to and the people who I could try to emulate, the people who could teach me the things that I couldn't learn myself. And I also overcame my bullies by thinking about my bullies, by thinking about their lives and their circumstances, by trying to understand their situations, by trying to understand them. And soon enough, after detailed reflection into my own thoughts and my own actions and into who I was, I started to transform. Unconsciously at first, but then turning into deliberate, I began to stand up for myself and to realize that the things that were happening to me weren't right and they weren't justifiable and they didn't carry a meaning. I learned that this bullying, this action without thought, only carries a meaning with it if you let it. And so, if we can work towards teaching our children this, about the things that I was able to discover on my own, if we can work towards giving them a better understanding of who they are, as well as where they fit in with others, and as who others are, then we'll be able to foster an environment where constructive, rather than corrective, discussions are taking place. By opening these kids' minds into who they are, and to who they see themselves as, and to where they want to see themselves become, it'll create an environment where these kids don't see a need to bully, where the thought of bullying doesn't make sense, where the idea of harassing someone just because doesn't hold any value. So, if we can put thought to our actions, then we can stop and we can identify the qualities about ourselves that create the best image of ourselves that we want to see. And if we can drop this negativity and this thoughtlessness from our lives, then we can roll out of whatever situation we find ourselves in. What I learned is that the biggest bully that anyone will ever face in their entire lives is themselves. The only person that's stopping us from adding a meaning to all of this, to putting a thought behind our actions, is ourselves. And so I challenge you. I challenge you to reflect. I challenge you to reflect on yourselves as well as others. And I challenge you to search for a meaning behind your actions. And when you find it, I challenge you to act on that meaning. Thank you.